thank you very much to all the panelists. I think there was just a great overview from various organizations as to how to really navigate the internal process. But I think for our next session, which would be the last session before lunch, and I'll be providing kind of the logistics around lunch a little bit later, is Felicia Moursalien, who is the Director of aCommerce Research and Intelligence. After having a look at the internal process, I think Felicia, who is a media specialist, who's been helping a lot of brands grow into kind of a global stage, and previously Laura, she's going to be giving us a little bit of an insight around how to approach the process of affecting e-commerce change externally. So that could be done through B2B marketing, digital marketing, as well as PR. So please welcome Felicia.
Thank you, T, for that introduction, and thank you to everyone for coming here today. First, I just want to get a show of hands. How many of you are selling online right now through your business? Okay. And how many of you work for a brand? Okay, a good 30%. And how many of you guys work for a retailer or an e-commerce website? Okay, so we have about 30 to 40% in the audience work for brands and retailers. The reason I ask you that is because we're going to go into the beauty report IQ, which aCommerce has spent the last couple months going through some of the top global brands in Thailand. I'm echoing. It sounds very like a god. Okay. Can we fix it? Perfect. So aCommerce Intelligence, the new unit we're building, is we've seen a lot of things happen over the last 2-3 years in e-commerce, and we wanted to look at the e-commerce footprint of the top 20 beauty brands in Thailand. And through that experience, we realized there's a lot of problems. So first, I'm going to talk to you about the painful customer experience in Thailand, and I'm going to use the beauty report IQ to illustrate some of those examples. But I'm not going to leave you hanging with the doomsday of how hard it is to do e-commerce. I'm actually going to present to you some of the pillars of how you can improve to go from being a young Padawan of e-commerce to actually the Jedi Knight, if you like Star Wars. So, the problem. Has any of this happened to you? Some of you are women, maybe not for the men, but when you've gone onto an e-commerce website, you've tried to search something, yet there are no the search results. I shopped online in 2012, and I tried to order something, and I was super disappointed. I ordered a necklace that looked, fine and dainty, fine and divine, let's say, something that a queen would wear. I actually got it, and it was terrible. It was a clunky, cheap costume jewelry piece. I was super disappointed and upset. And you know what? It took me 3 years to decide to shop online again. And I worked in e-commerce. I am partial to this industry, yet I refuse to shop online. That experience, that poor customer experience, is the same thing that a lot of customers in Thailand and the larger region are facing. And so what I'm going to argue today is that, yes, we could say e-commerce sales are 1% of overall retail in the region. But what I'm going to argue is that the main problem in e-commerce is a supply side, that the customer experience is not conducive to moving more people online. We heard from speakers Ben King from Google and from Paul. There is definitely demand for e-commerce, right? We see people browsing online. We see people looking up things on their phone. But from our internal mobile data, we see that people are browsing online, but they're not purchasing. They're browsing on their phones, but they're not purchasing on their phones. It means there is a demand. But what we will go through with the beauty report is that the actual supply is it's not quite there yet. So brands are moving into e-commerce. We have a lot of great beauty brands, Kiehl's, Maybelline, L'Occitane. We have a lot of great brands moving into e-commerce. They're taking some of the first steps to move from being a catalog to actually being an actionable, purchasable website. The problem is that you cannot just do e-commerce and say it's done. There's a whole string of investment that must go through in order to optimize the experience. So just a small case study. Brand commerce with Mac.com, unfortunately, was a bit painful. I hope I hope you're here from Mac. I love Mac makeup, but the online experience did not match the offline, and I'm very disappointed by that. So for example, if you look at the buttons, if you're a bit blind, you probably can't tell which one is the checkout button, or if you don't speak Thai. Checkout buttons are supposed to be large and obvious. You should be able to navigate it, even if you're like a 90-year-old man who are wearing like bifocals. But unfortunately, the search journey and the purchase journey on Mac was not that easy. Another problem, the social media buttons. If you see them right in the corner, they do not align with the global brand. Brand like Mac, like a lot of makeup brands, illustrates elegance, beauty, edginess. These buttons look like they were screenshot off the internet and inserted into the website as an afterthought. It was a complicated checkout process. If you look at Lazada, the market leader right now for e-commerce, the checkout process is about five clicks if you haven't signed in. That's quite good. Amazon, they have one click checkout. Mac was 11. Pain. Another problem, and we're all facing this. I mean, I work in an e-commerce company, so I'm talking to you as a consumer, but I also understand because we are on the supply side as well. So this is a problem we all face. Colors. The color did not... Ooh. Oh, sorry. Sorry, I ruined it. The colors did not match the product that I was hoping to buy, which I'll show you a bit later. So all in all, like some of these experiences, like I said, it took me 3 years to go back into shopping online. That's how scarred I was from my first experience. And we need to we all need to put more investment into optimizing the online experience to the same as the offline. So every touch, every button, every product, every picture, where everything goes, that needs to be optimized with the same vigor that we do in the offline, because we don't want to lose those potential customers. So the main problem from the customer side is, as I illustrated slightly, from the supply side, what we've seen is that at aCommerce is that brands sort of have this mentality that if you build it, they will come. This is a quote from Kevin Costner's Field of Dreams. Don't know if you guys like or love that movie. And the idea is that if you build something, the demand will come rushing in. Oh, I'm a big brand. I don't need to invest too much. People know my brand already, so we don't need to invest in marketing. But in fact, that doesn't work with e-commerce, because e-commerce, you're competing in an online space where the internet is infinite. So you need to spend on the experience, but also on activation and retention. The internet is like the most cutthroat place for people's eyeballs. So yeah, not for e-commerce, fool. Okay, I don't know if that's what Batman sounds like, whatever. So right now I'm going to present to you some of the preliminary findings of the ecommerceIQ beauty report. And basically what we did is a customer experience audit from the moment you land onto a website to the moment you purchase something to even calling the customer service representatives. And we wanted to see, we see all this growth, we see all the money pouring into the region, but we wanted to see what the actual customer experience with brand.com sites, so mac.co.th, Kiehl's.co.th, what the experience for a Thailand shopper would be. So we narrowed it down to the 20 top brands that you can buy in Thailand. We created a list of criteria. The criteria was derived from each of the 9 pillars, which I'll present to you. And we went through and we ranked each one, and we gave them a score, and we came up with the ranking that you'll see next. And we verified the results with the aCommerce division, the different teams within aCommerce. So it's not just like, angry old man in his basement being like, I hate this website. No. It was very methodical. And we verified whether the efficacy or the impact of our audit weighed up against what we saw in a general trend. So what I'm going to show you next are the results of the ranking. It is preliminary, though. We are releasing the full result in March. So I hope there are no, guns in the audience, and I hope it's okay. But number 1 and 2, I want to talk about Kiehl's and L'Occitane. Actually, the score was quite similar. Kiehl's excelled in some parts, and L'Occitane excelled in others. So it was a very close 1 and 2. And in the full report, which we hope to release to you, we will give you the breakdown, which will be next month. So one of the most important takeaways to get out of here is that we looked at 20. But the 9 that you're looking at these are the only ones with a brand web store. So that means that if you go on to l'occitane.co.th, you don't end up into like a dead end of the internet. You could shop what's there. Bobby Brown. And so in effect, we have 11 brands in 11 brands out of 20, more than half, are not, they do not have a robust e-commerce strategy. And from what you guys have seen here today, this is one of the fastest growing industries or sectors of retail, of our time. So it's quite insane. So we're calling these first 9 the trailblazers, the pioneers, the ones who are willing to invest because they know that the market is growing and that customers are looking to convert and buy online. The second group, I haven't put numbers behind it yet, but we're calling them the late bloomers, and we could kind of divide them up into 2 groups. The first set, they're off to a good start. They are having a less robust e-commerce strategy, but they are still selling online. So they've decided to work with official resellers or setting up a flagship store on, let's say, Lazada. And then, they're working with Luxola, Central Group, King Power. So while they have not made their own website, a place of purchase, they are working with some of the local retailers to at least have a presence online. So they're off to a good start. But then we have the last 3, Sulwhasoo, pardon my pronunciation, Etude House, and Nix. These ones, there's a lot more, but out of the 20, these are the late bloomers. This is what we call dead end websites. If you look at the product picture of Sulwhasoo, basically you could go on the website, you could like their product, and you want to buy it, but there is no call to action. If you are a brand, even if you don't have an e-commerce strategy, put a call to action, put a button that directs people who potentially want to buy your product, put it, direct it to your Lazada store, direct it to a reseller that you are working with. Do not ever have the dark hole of your website be the dark hole of the internet. It's as actually our Thailand CEO told me yesterday, it's like shopping and it's like trying to go to the mall and there's no cash register. So you're like, ugh, so this is sort of the breakdown. And so going through and doing these 20 e-commerce audits, here's a summary of the top problems. And I'm sure, because we are dealing with it every day, I'm gonna present to you some potential solutions of how to overcome them. But yeah, problem number 1, product content is not that accurate. I kid you not, this was a real example. I went to buy this MAC lipstick. I'm sorry, MAC, I love you, but I struggled. I went to buy this lipstick, and the color I received was much different than the one I thought I was getting. Oops. Second, there was a lot of, I'm not Thai, I'm Canadian, but if I were a Thai consumer, I would be very disappointed with like how much non-localized content there was. There wasn't even content about, and this is beauty, there weren't that many beauty tips on like how to do Asian features or Thai features. So there was a lack of localization. So global brands like working in Thailand, like it's great that you have a lot of the global content behind you, but there does need to be a little bit of localization to have a higher impact with your Thai consumers. Enforce sign up and memberships. If you guys have e-commerce websites, I'm sure most websites had this. You have to sign up for a membership before you've actually made a purchase. Getting people to do a purchase is one of the hardest things. So adding an extra step is one of the largest causes for abandoned basket sizes. So if you're gonna do this, if you wanna have a sign up, introduce the sign up afterwards, after they've purchased, and make it an easy process. Allow a guest sign up feature so they could move online quick, they could make the purchase quickly. A lot of websites, difficult to navigate, can't find the right search. Discovery shopping is underutilized. That means that brands and a lot of retailers, they're spending a lot of money on their blogs, right? They're spending money on content, video content, things to help the discovery process. But what we saw is that these blogs are completely separated from the transactional content. It was, I'll show you in a bit, but it was like in the corner, you had to click through a couple things, do a couple backflips, and then finally you're on the blog. And that is not where your most interesting and engaging content should be. It should be weaved in generally to your, close to the transactional content. And all your content should have transaction buttons or a call to action within it. But what we saw is that we're still, in Thailand, a lot of the brands are late bloomers in this respect, but some are trailblazing. So enough whining about the experience. I'm gonna walk you through we don't have enough time to go into all the pillars of, the 9 pillars of e-commerce, but I'm gonna sort of go through and give you a bird's eye of the ones we found the most important, and I'll walk you through a couple cases just so you get an idea of like the top problems we faced. And then we'll have questions at the end, so if you have any questions, keep them in mind. Okay, so these are the 9 pillars. And just to emphasize again, e-commerce is not just like setting up your store on Shopify or working with a website developer to create a website. These are the 9 channels that need to be invested in very heavily depending. It needs to be invested in with the same, I guess, enthusiasm that your offline experience is. Because each of these, which I'll go through, they impact how your customer is interacting with your brand. And one bad brand experience could keep them away for a very long time. Okay. So the channels, if you are a brand, where should you be selling? It's a big question that the channel, one of the panels will talk about later, so I'll just briefly talk about it. Should you just be selling on Lazada or Zalora, or should you set up a web store and call it a day? What I'm arguing for, and this is based on, I guess, sort of the most progressive brands we've seen over the last couple years, is a multi-channel e-commerce strategy. So don't only do brand.com, brand.com being your brand's web store, but also also sell on an official reseller, whether you've setting up an official store or flagship store on a marketplace, or selling on Central Online if you're a beauty brand, Luxola if you're beauty, or the other prominent official resellers. You should have, if you're a prominent brand, a multi-channel approach to e-commerce. The last 2, mobile and social. Mobile, as we know, and I'm not going to wax lyrical about the stats that we all know, but most people, this is a mobile first, and this is a mobile first market. People are browsing online. Oops. Yeah, this is the mobile first market. It cannot be ignored. But what we're finding right now is that brands and retailers are treating their mobile site as sort of an afterthought, as I guess we'll spend the rest of our budget on making a mobile optimized. But that's baloney, and if your mobile site is not better than your brand.com site or your desktop site, you have a problem, and you are potentially scaring away your potential customers. So mobile, I would say mobile responsive, not necessarily an app, that's a lot of investment, but a very good mobile responsive site is a key pillar to a multi-channel strategy. And the last one is social. Line is one of the most pervasive chat options, social chat functions in Thailand. It's something to consider as a channel to sell to e-commerce, to reach your next customer. Why do we advocate for a multi-channel strategy? So not just brand.com. If looking at some data in the US, this is not necessarily indicative of Thailand, but in the US, brands, this is Estee Lauder, the web store makes up a small portion of total online sales. But actually the online sales of the official resellers like Macy's, which is like the central online, or Nordstrom or Neiman Marcus, those are huge drivers of their offline, of their total retail sales. So the web store, it is, for some brands, it is worth investing in, and like I'll allow the panel to talk about that later at the end of the day. But this is some interesting data about how the beauty brands in the US are going. To bring it back to Thailand, L'Occitane has one of the most robust e-commerce strategies I've seen through the 20 e-commerce brands. They have their brand.com site, and it is very good. It's excellent. Like, you could seamlessly glide through the pages, through the content, to the checkout button without feeling like, oh, pain, you know, like that face. So they have a good brand.com, but they've also set up a like an official flagship store on Lazada. And this is an interesting play because I know some brands that consider themselves high-end, they're not sure, they need to control their image. And they are reticent to put their stuff onto third-party resellers because they cannot ensure the dedication to its brand reputation. And so it's interesting. I'm not going to advocate, but it's interesting just to show you what some of the more high-end beauty brand is doing. And they've worked with an official online reseller like King Power. So you could see them on 3 official channels on the internet. So that's interesting. They are a trailblazer. NARS, very popular beauty brand. But the thing is they have no local Thailand website. You go to nars.com and you try to search for Thailand. If you see, you can't find localized content. You can't find local shipping. So that was a bit unfortunate because the brand.com websites, when you search in Google, tend to be some of the first things you see and the websites you trust the most. So the fact that it wasn't actionable, that's a bit of an issue. However, they still have a localized e-commerce strategy, and they have set up an official account on a marketplace, and they're working with their official reseller on Central. Oh shoot. Okay. Let's go through. Yes. So we're going to talk about the on-site experience. This was hard. There are a lot of great examples of global websites who are doing e-commerce right, but everyone's still figuring it out. What makes a bad customer experience? Well, if you read the book, Don't Make Me Think, it's by one of the most, prominent UI, UX designers, like people who are responsible for the customer experience on a website. He said, the moment you have to think, it's a bad experience. The moment you have to think, where is that button? Where do I shop? Where do I do this? Like, wherever there's like a question mark that shows up on your head, that's a bad customer experience, because shopping should be effortless. The choice architecture within a website should allow you to seamlessly go through. Buttons should be prominent. And unfortunately, brands who have traditionally had their websites as sort of catalogs, so beautiful, large pictures, they really sell you the dream, they're having a harder time actually making that into a commercial real estate. So I don't know if you have any like e-commerce experts, but can anyone tell me what they think is wrong with this website? Or why this is not a great e-commerce site? Yes. I mean, besides Mariah Carey, you know, like that's exactly it. So let's go through that. Oh, yes. So number one, it's kind of stuck. It's stuck between being a magazine and an e-commerce website. And I think a lot of brands who are, you know, so used to like the I don't know, I guess the high-level feeling you get when you go to their website, they're struggling to integrate commerce without seeming like cheap and like hard sales. So Mac is one of those companies that is struggling, and unfortunately, as an ardent Mac user, their website, it needs to step it up. So first of all, yeah, number one, CTA means call to action. You should have, if you have any sort of e-commerce site or a brand that you hope to move into online sales, there should be a call to action on the first thing you see. So normally that would be shop now. Second, you should not have to click anything before you see a product. There should be product selling before you scroll. You should be able to buy something as soon as you enter the page. Number three, you need something to get your customers. Not get your customers, they're there. But once they're there, you need to start building that relationship with them. So normally you'll go onto websites and there'll be an email pop-up and they'll be like, please enter your email to receive a promotion or an amazing reason to come back. Mac did not have that. They had only a small little like corner spot of where to capture your emails. And so that was not that easy to find that or enough to care. Number four, it's not mobile responsive. So if you move it onto a smaller screen, dear Mariah's head got cut off a bit. So I don't know if that's good or bad, but that's what happened. Number five, the images were too big. So while they're beautiful, and if you guys work in fashion, beautiful images are key, but there are many steps you could take to compress those files to make them smaller. And number six is content. The on-site content, 5 reasons to shop online. I mean, I don't know if that's like their best content. There are so many, like the first things they should display are things to engage your consumer more, like, you know, tips to doing your lips better or whatever it is they do better. So just to show you a bit of a trailblazer here, Kiehl's, and full disclosure, they work with aCommerce, so that's okay. As soon as you go on their homepage, you have a beautiful picture. You have the shop now or learn more. Sorry, I didn't have space to put it in, but you have products. And the website maintains the beauty of Kiehl's, you know, like sleek, edgy, and is still actionable. So the point of that is that you're able to blend like your brand feeling of beauty and editorial with a more e-commerce friendly website. So here, like to win the brand experience, here are the top things you should focus on. We'll be sharing the slides after it, so I can't go through them all. But basically, your load time, there are tools you could use. Your website should not take more than 0.2 seconds to load. The Kiehl's one, it took, I think it was like 1.6 seconds, so it's quite over what the best practice is. There should be less than 4 clicks or 4 or 5 clicks to checkout, not 11. You should have bright colored buttons, like with the Kiehl's example. Yeah, with the Kiehl's example, the button was gray over a color palette, so that was a bit difficult. And you should have 1 call to action per page. I won't go into all of this. Another thing that you need to focus on, and I'm not sure why, but it seems to be like the forgotten component of a lot of brand.com websites. I searched lipstick, very standard search for beauty. I got, what is this? Foot cream. What? Okay. I don't know what happened there. Like, they were not even able to show me like lip products. They showed me like crazy, bizarre stuff. And L'Occitane, as I said, they ranked pretty high. Yet there are so many, like, this was one of the big factors that hurt their score. Kiehl's as well, I'm sad to say. I also searched lipstick, and instead it gave me something for lips thick. And then, and then instead of giving me like some thick lip stuff, it gave me tea tree oil shampoo. What? You know, like, your consumers should not be like, they should not ever feel like WTF when they're on your brand store. This is your brand, like, real estate. It is essential. Like, search functionality needs to be put. There needs to be a lot of effort put into search as well. So don't forget that. Checkout, also very important. Sorry, Mac. You're the key case study here. Yeah, as I said, hard to see. The button for checkout, you know, if I was Mr. Magoo with like huge bifocals, I would not be able to really buy my makeup. However, Trailblazer, the global side of Mac, they had a black button on a white background. So even if you don't speak, you know, English or any language, you could tell, like, you were compelled to click on that black button. The Lazada one is, you know, bright orange. You don't mess around with that. So your buttons, make them bright, make them contrast. Checkout. So you've clicked the button, now what? You need to make sure that the checkout process is as quick as possible. Kiehl's pretty good, except that every time you fill in like billing address, it needs to collapse into a new thing. So at the end of the day, we had to spend, I think, like 10 clicks to get to the purchase. All I want to do is get my lipstick. You know, I'm like searching for beauty at work during my lunch hour, hiding from my boss, right? Paul, sorry. But like, it needs to be fast and efficient because there are so many other things to do on the internet. Line chat, I have people buzzing me. Your click process needs to be quick. So if it's one of the like things you prioritize, yeah, make that quicker. Here's a winner though, Maybelline. It's they won the click to cart race. They allowed a guest checkout, so I didn't need to fill in all my details about like my age and whatever, because that's not important. So for guest checkout, they have the shipping address, the delivery payment, and review of the product, all in one page. This is definitely one of the models you should use for your checkout page because it made it very fast. It was 6 clicks to get to the cart. Yeah, pink button on a black background. I mean, maybe it's a bit tacky, but at least anyone knows where to go, even if they're probably like a cat, like trying to poke on the screen. Like, it's very obvious. Painful, yeah, the guest checkouts, like those are a bit difficult. And so here's just a quick ranking of how many clicks, like who won the click to cart game, which we came up with ourselves. So Maybelline, Estee Lauder, Kiehl's was quite a bit, unfortunately. So I think this will be probably my last point. I'm sorry if I have to rush through it a bit. This is about content and blogs. You know, the section where you hire like some creative person to just write stuff for SEO, right? This is actually very important for commerce, and I'll tell you why. From Scott Galloway, a digital marketer in the US, he said, while many brands have become skilled at creating quality content in recent years, few have addressed the wide gulf between compelling content and efficient commerce. This example of Estee Lauder in the States is a very, like sort of a benchmark. It's your foundation finder. So you're engaging users to find the shade of their face, but you're not leaving it just at that. They are offering all the products underneath it. So they're tying together editorial content with actionable action. Okay, if I could say that. However, what we're seeing is that, we'll go through this quickly. What we're seeing is that blogs are somewhere in like the dark holes of the internet, right, of the website. So you have to click a couple times before you get to probably where you've spent the most money on, like video content. Your content should be weaved in, as I said a little bit earlier, it should be weaved into your transaction pages. Sorry. So this is an example, L'Occitane. This is L'Occitane and Kiehl's, our top winners, but here I wanted to point them out to show you that there are areas where even the top like best brand experiences on e-commerce, there's still some things that they need to fix. So the magazine in L'Occitane, it's not on the main bar, but it's in like the small top corner, like where you put like not your most interesting things, right? It's unfortunate because they have a good blog. The Kiehl's, you have to click into what's new, and then you have a tiny thing that says video and blog. This should be integrated a bit better, and we do work with Kiehl's. So as I said, like everything I'm talking about is something we're all working on together. It's not just a customer experience. Actionable editorial. This is very easy because I know everyone is investing in blogs and like some content for their e-commerce sites. L'Occitane is a late bloomer here. They have great content. They've probably hired great writers, doing the research. But the only thing that they're recommending is it's that foot cream again. Like what? The foot cream is in the winter beauty kit. I'm sorry, but I don't see the connection between the two. Yeah, so here's a winner would look like this. Bobbi Brown in Thailand. Excellent e-commerce experience as well. They show you, and it was localized, so how to do beauty for Asian eyes. How to do beauty for Asian eyes. They've given you very interesting, engaging content, and they've allowed you, or they've set up the choice architecture for you to go and click those products. Because naturally, if you're engaged in the content, you're going to want to know how do you do it yourself. So these are two examples of late bloomer and Trailblazer that I think they're quite. We can all fix these things sort of together. Product visibility, as I said, it's hard. Very easy fix. Put the colors on models. Don't just show the product. Don't just show it in the bottle. Don't just do a zoom of the product. Show it on a model. So Innisfree, they did a very good job with their content. They did a color palette on lips. If you're a fashion brand, put it on clothes and do like a little video modeling. If it is like other categories, have people using it, show what it looks like, but have multiple images that show your product, not just a zoom in and zoom out. This will help decrease the disappointment of your consumers. Okay. Ratings and reviews, these increase conversion rates on your sites. Important to have them. Innisfree does a very good job of incorporating reviews into their website. They have a huge call to action, write a review. And as a result, they have a huge list of user-generated content on the product pages. Kiehl's, great brand, but unfortunately, you can't see what other people thought about the brand on the website, the place where you're supposed to buy. So I'm just gonna wrap up. Other things, if you build it, they will come. Not true. You have to engage in a robust email marketing campaign amongst a bigger marketing campaign. Unfortunately, I can't go into everything. L'Occitane, I signed up for their email newsletter, but instead of activating me to come back, they just said, hey, thanks. I'm like, okay, you just wasted my 1 second of time opening this email. However, something good about L'Occitane, whoops. Yeah, but a good example of EDM is Maybelline and Innisfree. They provided me a coupon code. So not only did they built that relationship for me to come back. So always include some sort of coupon code in your email, like thank you for signing up, here you go. And Maybelline did a good job of that as well. L'Occitane, no. Promotions, very important. Cash on delivery, if you can, which you can. Cash on delivery is one of the biggest facilitators of transactions on e-commerce sites. It allows effortless shopping. So if you're able to, you should provide it, and it's worth investing in. We found internal ecommerce data that 70% of orders were made with cash on delivery. And in fact, it increases conversions by 20 to 25%. So this is our ecommerce data with our clients. So I can't, unfortunately, packaging counts. So here are the key takeaways. Have a multi-channel strategy. Have a call to action. Make sure you're able to shop as soon as you go on the website. Show product images in different formats, not just a zoom in and zoom out of a bottle. That's boring. Show how it looks on somebody's skin. Drive traffic with retargeting campaigns. Minimize your clicks to your checkout. That's gonna kill you guys. That's gonna kill your transactions and your conversion rates. Don't only focus on one channel. You need a multi-channel approach. Don't only display pretty images. Allow people to shop. Don't ignore your packaging. And So despite me complaining up here for the last 30 plus, probably more minutes, I still love shopping. So thank you for your time. If you have questions, you can email me. We will be releasing the beauty report next month, and hopefully it's something we can share with everybody. If you have questions or you want to abuse me, send it to Felicia at ecommerce.asia. Thank you for your time.
Thanks, Felicia. Who would have thought it was so hard to buy a lipstick online, right? And of course, I mean, Felicia tells it like it is, and I think just to bridge into that, obviously, just as Felicia's feedback could help improve a lot of website, in your packet today there is a questionnaire, which we really hope that all of you would help fill out, because I think that would provide feedback for the organizer to hopefully improve, the future events. So right before we break for lunch, you could submit it, right at the lunch break or after the event today, and in exchange, there's going to be a little gift for you to take home. As for lunch logistic, just because there are quite a few of you in here, if you look at your badge, and at the bottom there's going to be a color code, so that's going to kind of tell you which lunch group you're in. And the way this works is, if it's green, that means that your lunch group is going to be on the first floor. If it's red, it would be on the second floor, and then blue would just be on this floor right outside the event room. I think just to facilitate, so that we don't get a mad rush out, even though I'm sure everyone is hungry, is if I just ask for the green group to leave the room first, and then maybe for the rest of us to wait about 5 to 10 minutes, so that we could kind of go in, in groups, so that we don't overwhelm the elevator. So that is it for lunch. Please enjoy, and then I'll see you after the lunch break.